In this video, I am going to show you how to install MySQL Server as well as MySQL Workbench in a Windows machine. Well, let's head over to your private browser. Well, I'm in a Chrome browser and just type MySQL download and hit enter. And most probably the first link you will find, it should be from MySQL official website. So go ahead and click on MySQL downloads link over here. So this will navigate to the MySQL official website downloads page. Just scroll down and here you can see MySQL community downloads link. So go ahead and click on this link over here, and then here you can see MySQL installer for Windows. Well, go ahead and click on this link, and as of now you can able to see the MySQL server version, that is MySQL installer 8.0.29. okay, so this is the latest version of MySQL server as of now. Well, we are going to use basically the MSI installer to install MySQL server, MySQL Workbench. So go ahead and click on this Windows MSI installer. So go ahead and click on this download, and here you can see the link, no thanks, just start my download. So just click on this link. We are not going to log in or sign up to this website. We are simply going to download without sign up. So go ahead and click on this no thanks, just start my download link. So this will download MySQL installer on our file system. So go ahead and open this in a folder, and then just go ahead and double click on this installer. Let me minimize this. And now you can able to see MySQL installer 1.6, and there we go, we got a MySQL installer. Now we need to choose the setup type, and here you can see a couple of options: developer default, server only, client only, full, custom. Well, if you want to install all the products needed for MySQL development purpose, then you can go ahead and use developer default setup type. If you want to install only the MySQL server product, then you can go ahead and use server only setup type. If you want to install only the MySQL client products without a server, then you can go ahead and use client only setup type. If you want to install all the included MySQL products and features, then you can go ahead and use full setup type. If you want to manually select the products that should be installed on the system, then you can go ahead and use custom setup type. Well, in our case, we are going to use custom setup type. So just go ahead and choose custom setup type over here and click on next. And here we are going to choose the MySQL server first. So just expand this MySQL servers and then expand this MySQL server and MySQL server 8.0. So we'll be using the latest version of MySQL. So just choose this one, MySQL server 8.0.29. So this is the latest version of MySQL server as of now, but this may differ in your case. So just go ahead and just drag this one. So just select and click on this icon. So this will drag into this products to be installed list. Okay, now just go to the applications over here, and we need to install the MySQL Workbench, right? So go ahead and expand this, and we're going to use the latest version of MySQL Workbench. So let's choose MySQL Workbench 8.0.29 and then just drag it. Okay, apart from that, we're going to also install the MySQL cell. So just expand MySQL cell and just choose this MySQL cell 8.0.29. Perfect. Now we want to install these three products, right? So go ahead and click on next over here. Well, in order to install these three products, there is a prerequisite, that is Microsoft Visual C++ should be installed. Well, before installing these three products, you should have to first install Microsoft Visual C++. So this is the basically requirement to install these three products. Well, if you just click on this execute, so this will basically provide option to install Microsoft Visual C++. Alright, once you get this pop-up Microsoft Visual C++, just go ahead and accept the agreement and go ahead and click on install. So this will install Microsoft Visual C++. So this is basically a requirement to install the MySQL products. And there we go, setup successful. just go ahead and close this one, and then you can see here the requirement meets for these three products. You can see the tick mark over here. Alright, now go ahead and click on next. Alright, and if you can see the status over here, ready to download, right? So all the products are ready to download. So just go ahead and click on this execute over here, so you can see the progress. So all these three products are getting downloading over here. And there we go, all the products are downloaded. Now go ahead and click on next. Well, here you can see the status of all these three products ready to install, right? So just go ahead and click on execute. If you can see the status, the MySQL server is installing. You can see the progress as well. Okay, just wait a couple of seconds to install all these three products. Well, MySQL server is successfully installed. You can see the status complete. Now MySQL Workbench is installing. You can see the progress. Now MySQL Workbench is successfully installed. You can see the status complete. Now the MySQL shell is started installing. You can see the progress. Well, you can see here all the three products are successfully installed. Now let's go ahead and click on next. Now you can see the status ready to configure. So go ahead and click on next. Well, in this screen we are not going to change anything. Let's keep config type as a development computer, and let's keep all these things as selected. And if you can just notice here, by default MySQL server uses port 3306. Alright, great. Now let's go ahead and click on next, and here you can see you need to choose the authentication method. Well, we are going to keep the default selected one as it is because this is the recommended. So just keep as selected as it is and go ahead and click on next. Well, here we need to provide the password for the MySQL server. Well, by default MySQL server uses the root as a user, and here we need to provide a password for the root user. So let's go and let's give a password. You can give any password that you want. Well, just remember this root user password, because in order to access to the MySQL server we are going to use root user and password. Alright, and if you want to create a new user, then you can go ahead and click on this add user to create a new user and password, but we are going to use the root user, okay, that is provided by MySQL server. Now just go ahead and click on next. Alright, here we are not going to change anything. We just keep this standard system account as selected over here, and yeah, so go ahead and click on next, and you can see apply configuration. So just go ahead and click on execute. So this will apply all the configuration to our system. So just wait a couple of seconds to apply this configuration. Well, if you can see the configuration steps: writing configuration file, updating Windows firewall rules, adjusting Windows service, initializing database, starting server, applying security settings, updating the start menu link. Alright, so just wait a couple of seconds to apply these configuration steps. Well, you can see here the configuration for MySQL Server 8.0.29 was successful. Just go ahead and click on finish to continue. Click on next, and there we go, we have successfully completed the installation part. So just go ahead and click on finish. This will launch MySQL Workbench. Just wait a second, and there we go, we got a MySQL cell as well as MySQL Workbench. Now you can able to see here MySQL cell as well as MySQL Workbench is opened up. Now let me minimize this MySQL cell, and let's see how to use MySQL Workbench to connect to the MySQL server, and we will also create a one database. Well, here you can see the root user. So go ahead and click on this root user, and this will ask a password. So let's give password. So whatever the password you have given to the root user while installation, that password you should give here, and click on this save password in a alt and go ahead and click on OK. Now our MySQL Workbench client is successfully connected to the MySQL server. Now we are good to interact with the MySQL server. So here I'm going to simply create one database. Let's say create database, and let's give database name as demo, and just execute this SQL statement. And there we go, create database demo is successfully executed. Now if you can just go to schemas and just refresh schemas, you can able to see a demo database is successfully created. Okay, so this is how basically we use MySQL Workbench to connect to the MySQL server, and we create a database. Now let's go ahead and let's see how to interact with the MySQL server using command line. Well, you can just go to start over here and just open command prompt, okay, and go to the location where the MySQL server is installed. So go to this PC and then C drive and then program files and just search for MySQL, and there we go, and go to the MySQL server a.o and then bin folder, and then just select this path, just copy this path and close this one, and here just type the command cd and paste this path and hit enter. Now we are in a bin folder. Just type the command mysql -u stands for user, and then user is root, and then -p, hit enter. Now just enter the password for the root user, and there we go. Now we are connected to the MySQL server using command prompt. So let me simply create one database. Create database followed by the database name, let's say Ramesh. Now the Ramesh database is successfully created. Let's type the command show databases, and here you can see the database list, and we have just created a Ramesh database, right? Alright, so this is how basically we use a command prompt to connect to the MySQL server and we create a database. Now I have demonstrated how to connect to the MySQL server using MySQL Workbench as well as command prompt. Alright, so let me recap what we have done in this video. We have downloaded MySQL installer from the MySQL official website, and then we have installed 3 products: MySQL server, MySQL Workbench as well as MySQL Cell, and then we have seen how to use MySQL Workbench to connect to the MySQL server, as well as we have seen how to use a command prompt to connect to the MySQL server. Alright, I hope you understood how to install MySQL server, MySQL Workbench in a Windows machine. Alright, great. I will see you in the next video.